Hi everyone, this is Kat of Catalyst Holistic Life Coaching, bringing your life in alignment with you. I'm here today to do your weekly guidance reading for the week of August 3rd through the 9th. Our first week in August, we just passed through the midpoint of the seasons between summer and fall. So we're right in the midst of Leo. The sun is at its peak, really feeling the heat as Leo is ruled by the sun, so it's really in its prime right now. And we're still moving through this kind of really intense retrograde energy, and here pretty soon we'll be having Uranus going retrograde, joining some of the other planets, and then come September we'll start to kind of have a train ride of the planets finally going direct. So it'll start to kind of feel like forward movement, but we are going to get a bunch of conjunctions and alignments and aspects that will be repeating themselves since we will have that forward movement. So we may have a lot of revisitation to the things that we have experienced over the last few months. But for now, the energy is still kind of progressing, and we have a full moon tomorrow on August 3rd, depending on where you are living. And it is in Aquarius. So a lot of energy that is being forwarded to the ideas of embracing our uniqueness, how we're going to stand out. I have a separate video that will be specifically for the full moon. I'll put it in the suggestion box for you. And we will be also doing a full moon workshop tomorrow night. If you live here in Bozeman, I'll include the event link below. If you are not in the area or you do not feel comfortable coming to the class in person, I will be filming it to be available for purchase later. So more info about that in the link below. So as I was meditating with the card deck today, the vision I had was a sort of bird that was this really bright red. It almost seemed like a phoenix, what you would think a phoenix would look like. And I was hearing oriental music, and it was flying through like a flurry of peach blossoms. And, peach blossoms really have to do with like peace and tranquility. And so hearing that oriental music, maybe that's something that will stick out to you specifically. But I saw this bird just flying through this mountain range, like with all the peach blossoms, and then it went into this mountain range where crystals started to begin to form, creating this mountain. And they were made of a kind of dark like crystal, and then they began to break down and become this light beam that started rippling out into the world, and everything else that was dark was beginning to dissipate into clean water, clean forests. It was like a very utopian thing, and I'm not sure if it was the bird or if this just came in by itself. But there was a dragon that came in initially that was red, and then it transmuted to white and went into the oceans, and it was purifying. So a lot of the idea of tranquility in the sense of I saw this as old structures falling away, making way for a new utopia, which is exactly what Aquarius all has to do with. It is the humanitarian sign, and shaking things up. Its ruler is Uranus, and Uranus is this kind of, I don't know how you would put it exactly, but just basically kind of that thing you just throw in to kind of shake things up a little bit. So we're potentially getting this chance for a really big shift coming through on a really massive scale, not just personally, but we are going through this transformation process together is something that I see, and we are building towards a bigger world. So we'll look towards the cards for more information. This is a general reading for the collective. It may or may not resonate with you today, but there are a lot of cards, and there may be specific symbols or imagery or words that could pop out to you or be a confirmation for you, so be open to hearing that. This week I am using the Shadowscapes Tarot. And we've got your animal, crystal, herbs, working your light, and your offering. So wherever you're at, whenever you're watching this, this is also timeless. So if you do see this at a later date, it is exactly what you need to hear in this moment. So do not worry so much about the timestamp. Okay, so taking a deep breath, rounding in. Really being open to the message. And also, this may be a long message today, so if at any point you need to stop and take in some information and just break this up throughout the week, that is something you can do as well. So we'll start with our tarot cards. So the first card we have coming forward is the Three of Cups in the reverse. So normally this is a card of celebration, unity, coming together with friends. So in the reverse, this could be some sort of inner celebration, some acceptance of yourself, some acceptance of something new. This could also be indicating the feelings that we have of this isolation, where we're feeling more divided. Some places are under quarantine. Lots of people are quarantining themselves or isolating from what they used to know. And so this could be speaking to that energy as well, where we're kind of disconnected from our circle. We don't feel as united or in harmony as we did before. But this, I think, is also really speaking towards we're learning how to celebrate ourselves. We're learning how to celebrate our uniqueness and love these new things about us, because now that we have been spending more time with ourselves, we're learning new things that we didn't realize were there. We're learning old habits, old patterns, old wounds that we're learning to have the tools to actually cope with. We're reaching out to more people. We're trying to understand. We're connecting in new, unique ways. And so we're starting to embrace, like, what do I have to offer towards this healing? How can I learn to celebrate myself more? How can I learn to bring this feeling that I have with others and bring it more inward towards myself? Okay, because the second card we have is the Eight of Swords. And we're really trying to come out of these mental shackles, these bindings that have made us feel small, that have made us feel trapped and like there's no hope. We have this hummingbird here, which is, this sign that, there is freedom to be had. Sometimes we need to just get a new perspective. Sometimes we need to relax into the uncomfortability instead of fighting against it. You can see they're tangled up in thorns, and the more you fight against it, the more you get hurt. Whereas if we just kind of embrace where we're at, we embrace every aspect of ourselves, even sometimes the negative qualities that we think we have, not falling into those patterns, but really just embracing what makes us unique, not looking at it as something that is weighing us down. If there are things that you think are holding you back that need to be released, doing that inner work, but doing it in a gentle way where you acknowledge what these things have taught you, how they're beneficial to your growth. Changing the narrative a little bit to something that's empowering, not victimizing. Unbinding ourselves from this pattern. Okay. So in our last card, we have the King of Wands in the reverse. So, this is really saying towards inner power. There's lions in here, so there's the Leo energy. We're really learning to be loyal and proud of ourselves. We're learning to actually like take a stand. It may not be an outward expression into the world just yet. We're just learning to stand our ground on our own. We're cutting away from this kind of dark period that we're coming out of. And we're ready to embrace that sun, embrace the radiance. But this is all an internal thing. We're not looking for outside validation. We're not, doing this for other people anymore. This is something that we are actually doing for ourselves. We are doing this inner work. We are taking the lead in our lives. We're not staying behind in this energy anymore. We're taking that little bit of hope, that little bit of light that we see, and we're not going to let it crush us. We're going to be more powerful. And the more that we do this, working into the upright, we're going to feel so much more sure of what it is that we are contributing to the whole in this situation. We are going to be so much more loyal to ourselves. We're going to be so much more honest and truthful. And yeah, I'm really just hearing like taking the lead in our lives, leading ourselves through this cycle. Okay. All right. So moving into our animal guide for the week. We had this guy last week, but he was in the upright. So we have the panther spirit in protection. Reclaim your power. So with him in the protection, this is saying, yeah, where are you giving your power away? This could be a sign that maybe you could have some people in your life that have been manipulating you, exerting their power over you, taking your power away. This could be even just on a collective level. We're learning to reclaim our power from those that are really not leading us in a very good direction. They maybe don't have our best interests at heart. And we're learning to see from this kind of shadow aspect that we need to come together as a whole. We need to interesting message. We need to really take a stand for what's right now, because we have been letting somebody else take the reins of our lives, whether that's personally or just globally. It's time to come out of this and kind of confronting that shadow part of ourselves, these places that have been taking our power away, and really paying attention to how we can take that power back. What is our true power? We've also got the number 44, which comes to 8. 8 may stand out to you. And we've also got this 8 as well. So, yeah, I think this is really a message, especially with this Aquarius full moon coming up tomorrow. I think this is really saying about where we've given our power away in just collectively, not as much maybe in a personal experience. Some of you, it could be happening that way, but we're re-looking at our leadership in our life. Like this can be false leadership. This can be manipulative energy, somebody who's just imposing their will on someone in a wrongful way. And so that can really speak to just, what's going on in our society, like our governments, our people who are running this world. And this isn't to say not to get so political about like who you should vote for, these sorts of things, but reclaiming your power of just like, what can I do to make a difference? How am I holding myself back? How am I silencing myself instead of taking action into the world instead of putting myself out there and being unafraid to really stake my claim as what I'm here to offer. If we're all being called to step up and rise to the occasion in that way. All right, so moving into the crystal energy or crystal healing that can best assist us this week, we have black coral, light in the darkness. That beaming ray of hope. I know a couple weeks ago with the energy of Chiron going retrograde into Aries, leading up to that, I felt, and people around me very much felt, this just sudden rush of emotions, of old wounds that almost like put you in a pit of just like, whoa, like things feel really dark right now, really kind of hopeless. And we're dealing with that retrograde until December, I believe. So this could be something that's recurring where it's like, we're really gonna have to stand on our own. And as scary as that seems, as much as we try to resist it, like we're really the only ones that can free ourselves from these wounds, these things that have been holding us back for so long, these things that tell us that we're less than who we really are, because if we realized just how powerful we were, where would we be? So holding on to that light, remembering just how powerful you are, that you have meaning, you have purpose, and even if it's not so clear right now, holding on to that light, that little bit of hope that is coming through for you, whatever it may be, whether it's what you're passionate about, goals you're trying to pursue, maybe you're getting into some new work, or you're doing a lot of the deep soul healing work that's needed right now. Whatever it is, like, this is a confirmation of like, don't lose that faith. Remember to be grounding yourself a lot this week. We've got the red and black energy. So yeah, really remembering to find your center. Whenever you feel that energy come up, focusing on the root chakra, there could be some root chakra healing that some of you are in need of, finding security, protection, whatever that is, like, just don't let that little light go out. Keep holding on. Whoop. Okay. All right, so a couple of herbs that came up for healing this week. We've got the Madre of Air or Motherwort, also known as the Queen of Swords. And then we've also got the Five of Earth or Slippery Elm. So 5 of Pentacles. So this is someone who is sharp and cutting. So with Motherwort, this could be calling for you to get really clear, get clarity, be direct in what you are doing, staying alert, and again, like standing your ground, like finding your footing, finding your power, and just being very clear and direct, communicating that well, not wavering from this. And this is also a very like independent energy as well. So yeah, working with Motherwort to get more clear on what it is, the things that you're cutting down, that you are cutting out of your life. And then with Slippery Elm, this has to do with, since this is actually an endangered tree as well, this tends to look at initially like what we lack instead of what we're gaining. And Slippery Elm is super useful in with mucilage and rebuilding, and not taking more than what we need, remembering to replenish just as much as we take. So finding that balance, looking at not continuously looking at what we're losing, but what can we gain, what can we also grow. So whatever you're cutting away right now, whatever you're starting to get clear on in what direction, like just look at the positive aspect of it. There was a really great quote today. It was a Sufi proverb, I believe, and it said, I may not get it right verbatim, but it said, what the ego weeps for in loss, the soul rejoices in what it's gained. Something along those lines. May not be exactly how it's said, but it's a really beautiful proverb. So yeah, being gentle with yourself too, again, like holding on to that light. Don't be afraid of what's being cut away. This is a time for a sharp, determined mind and tongue. Okay? All right, so moving into our Work Your Light Oracle. So, first card we have is the Initiation, a rite of passage, crossing the threshold. So, yeah, this is, we're being prepared for something big. When this is coming or how this is happening, we don't necessarily know, but we know that we definitely cannot go back to the way we were doing things before all of this started happening. We are realizing we are being initiated to do something bigger than ourselves. This is the spark. This is going into that brighter era, kind of in that vision I saw with how we're leaving behind the kind of darkness and we're moving into something that is really beautiful and lovely. And we've also got snakes and scorpions in this imagery, so if that stands out to you, snakes having to do with transmutation. There's even some crystals in here too, the lightning bolts, and scorpions, Scorpio representing death, transformation, so shedding of old skins, shedding of the death. So, but first we have to go through that uncomfortableness of the cutting away, because when something's overgrown, when our field is full, when our cup is full, we cannot take in anymore. We have to empty it somehow. So embracing that initiation process. And then we have dance with life. Do something to change your energy. So again, that full moon energy, embracing what this moon may be bringing for you, embracing the release. The full moon could be illuminating something that you are being asked to let go of. And so just take it in stride. This could be something that may just be suddenly cut out. If you don't take the step to do it yourself, it could just get taken out kind of without warning. And that could be this initiation, this like sudden strike where it's like, we got to take it in stride. Some things we cannot control. So embracing the ebbs and flows in life, dancing, changing your energy, using body movement. Don't get stuck in the energy. Even when you just feel so, you feel that kind of, those mental patterns, those old wounds coming up, trying to overtake you. Do something that shifts it a little bit. Do something that actually brings you joy. Okay? All right, so last we have some divine offerings. So the first one we have is divine timing. This is a really pretty card. The divine brings things in the timing that we need. Nothing comes before we're prepared, nor leaves too early. May I always trust your perfect and holy timing, dear divine. So yeah, something could be, we're preparing for, something is going to be leaving our lives, is the sense that I'm getting with this kind of Madre of Air energy, because we're being initiated. But again, it's also that I think it's on both sides. So there's the energy of embracing that we're going through this cycle, that we're going through this preparation to prepare for something new. So it's not going to come before you're prepared. So don't be overwhelmed by like all of this is happening. I don't know why. I don't know the answers. It's okay that you don't know the answers right now. I don't think anybody really fully knows the answers. We can only speculate. But usually it is something more impressive than we can even imagine. So just be open to that possibility. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you know, thinking something is leaving our life and having that grief and that loss, which is acceptable, like having that grief, like, you know, looking at the loss, completely valid. I'm not invalidating that at all. But it's looking at it for what it is teaching you, feeling into it, allowing the grief to come through, but just not trying to cling to the ego stories. Okay? All right. Oh, we have 4 of these. Oh, my bad. Okay, so second one we have is feelings. Emotions want to be felt. You really can't surrender something until you deeply feel it. Allow me, dear divine, to offer all emotions to you, feeling them fully so they no longer hold me captive. Yeah, exactly what I was just saying, where like if you have the grief, like feel the grief. Whatever you're feeling right now in this moment is valid. You can acknowledge even these wounds that come up. That is part of embracing your power. That is reclaiming your power, where you say, hey, yeah, I feel this. What is making me feel this? Do I want to continue to feel this way? That is reclaiming your power over, letting your emotions run your life. Emotions are a good barometer, not that emotions are bad. They deserve to be felt. It's your body. It's your way of trying to speak and connect with the world. But when we let ourselves be consumed, we personalize feelings where we say, I am sad, saying, I am sadness, I am embodying sadness. Whereas we say, I'm feeling sad. It's changing that narrative a little bit of disassociating and disconnecting that we are not our sadness. We are not this. We are feeling it. But it does not define us. So allow them to be felt however is needed. All right, next card we have is service. You stop using the universe to try to get what you want and start asking love to use you. You offer all and want to be of service. Ironically, many desires become fulfilled without grasping or manipulation. So that Aquarian energy of being of service to the collective, how can you offer your gifts? This light in the darkness. How are you gonna lead, those around you? You may be called to lead in some way, to hold space for others, to continue to push on while others are not sure what to do. No matter how big or small, like there is something of service that you are being called to do. We've got some dandelions and moths in here too. Dandelion is like youthful, like full energy, and it's yellow and it's light. So if you're not sure where to like put your energies, maybe finding things to volunteer with, finding things to put your energy into, that is taking the focus away from yourself too much. Like if you're really getting caught up in all of this stuff, you can find things to do in that way. All right, and then our last card for the reading is Sanctuary. A sanctuary resides inside you no matter what is happening. This inner temple beckons you to enter. Take a deep breath, enter, and sit down on the throne of your own heart. We're embracing our uniqueness, our solitude. We are celebrating ourselves. We are learning to love ourselves. And this is what we need in the healing in this world. Can you imagine what everything would be like if we had people who loved themselves and loved others? It would be this huge change. And so just remember, again, that light in the darkness. Like you can always reground, find that heart space, come back to center however you need to. You are not alone. You have your guides. If anything is too rough, you could always reach out to those close to you, maybe mentors, anybody who will listen. There are amazing groups in so many areas on like Facebook or different things like that. Like don't be afraid to reach out. but just remember that your sanctuary is what's going to be what feeds you and fills you the most. Okay? All right. Big things, you guys. Big things. I definitely feel, I'm feeling a kind of heaviness from it where it's just like, okay, this is a lot to take in. A lot of us may not be sure how to do this exactly because many of us maybe didn't have the family dynamic or the tools that we needed to be able to do this. And so we are really taking this on our own. And it seems like a really long, arduous journey. But when you have that dedication and you learn to be grounded in yourself, it may just kind of blossom more quickly than you expect. This is an initiation period. So there is a change coming. And again, that card saying nothing will pass you or nothing will come to you until you are fully prepared. So don't feel like you have to be overwhelmed or you have to figure it out right away or getting frustrated with yourself that you're not figuring it out, because you are. Every time you come back to changing your attention to yourself and to what you love and what you really stand for, being loyal to that, every time you reinforce it. And every time you reinforce the neural pathways, you get stronger and stronger. And that's all you have to do. Repetition is the key. It doesn't matter how many times or what you are doing, but just the repetition of it. And keep trying. That is one of my favorite things from my yoga teacher training is just come back and begin again. You can always begin again. Okay? That is something that came through. Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to tune into this reading. I hope it met you exactly where you needed it. And if you liked it, please feel free to share, tag people. You can like or subscribe to my channel. And I always like to hear your comments as well, like how that reading really resonated with you. So yeah, exciting things moving forward. Big energy shifts. I have some new content that will be coming out soon. Some new practices as we move into the fall season. And so, yeah, I'll be discussing those more in a separate video. But for now, I leave you with that. I wish you a happy week, happy full moon. Take care of yourselves, nurture yourselves. Remembering if you are having any strong emotions, very likely tied to the moon. We're all a little bit crazy around that time. So don't be too hard on yourselves. And yeah, I will include the link to the full moon reading as well if you want to check that out. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.